Hello, everyone. My name's Hank Settle, the Sonic Shaman,
And I'm Dr. K.
and this is Holistic Health and Healing. We finally are kind of condensing our title for our podcast and everything on the Emergence of Being Network. And today's topic is all about self care, self love. The number one relationship is you.
Yeah, this is a big one. I thought of this. This came to me yesterday. I'm like, it's Valentine's Day and everybody's going to be buying somebody else something and thinking of their spouse and getting chocolate and roses and whatever else we do, teddy bears. But ultimately, I think Valentine's Day is way more than that, but we should be doing this every day and not only loving our partners, but loving ourselves. We should be doing that every day. And we are so hard on ourselves. I hear it time in, time out. And I'm hard on myself too. And this is a lot of times where a lot of problems start because we're looking to the external to fill things that are needing healing and help on the internal. So when we're always out there looking for Mr. Right, Mrs. Right to, they don't love me, they don't care for me. I've seen it so much. You're I learned this lesson the hard way. It took me 18 years, guys. 18 years of a 17-year long relationship to learn this. So and when I learned it, it was like, it's like, oh man, what the heck was I doing? But we're always looking for all these other things to fulfill. I see people buying cars, buying toys, buying all these things for maybe not the right reasons. I'm not saying don't enjoy, but fill yourself first, then buy the stuff. Because what you'll find is when you start really filling yourself, you're like, I don't know if I really need that. You get to this space where you find peace. And I'm sure Hank can talk on that too. You just like, it's like, take it or leave it. The things don't control you. It's like, well, if I have it, great. If I don't, it's okay. You know?
You know, access consciousness gives this example that when we're talking about relationships, and if we think about the other person in a car, right, like in order to fit in their car, like, oh well, I have to lose a leg, I have to lose an arm, and like if you want to fit into the box of they're creating in their reality, or vice versa, like we feel like we have to sacrifice who we are to conform to the space where we can be in a relationship. And that is when you do something like that and you're not allowing yourself to be your authentic voice and you're sacrificing who you are to fit, you'll never be fulfilled because you're losing yourself. And that's why yourself is so important. You got to be content, you, yourself, and your soul. And that's where I've said it's really about creationship, not relationship. Me and my wife, we've been together as a couple since 1997. We were having a long distance relationship from 97 till 2005, got married in Germany, spent another year apart. And the secret really was always we were autonomous. We were able to do our own thing, also be in a creationship, but we weren't asking each other to sacrifice what was passionate for us to fit into the box of relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. That's hands on. And those are the relationships that survive, I think, the most is when you are in full with yourself and when you really work on yourself and spend some time healing that internal stuff, then you'll attract somebody. Very likely, you're more likely to attract somebody that has that same quality. And then you guys have the stronger probability of doing much better. But when you're constantly looking for something else, and I will share my 17-year-long experience in this. I was, chasing like you would not believe. Like I was in this relationship, but I never felt good enough. So it's like I would do anything. Well, your hair's not okay, so I'm gonna go get my hair dyed blonde, or I'm gonna go get some new makeup, or okay, I should wear high heel shoes. And then it's like, well, how come you can't dress like that? You can't look like that girl. Well, there I was, buying the heels, putting on the nail polish. I'm like, this isn't even stuff I enjoy. But I was so desperately looking to be loved and cared for that I would do anything to get this individual to love me and to marry me. And I look back now and sometimes I'm like, God doesn't give you something for a reason. If it doesn't happen, now I look back, I'm like, thank God I didn't marry this person, because it would have been a much longer road to get out of. It would have just added to the plate. So I look back now and I learn all those things. And I remember the point in time, and I will share this vulnerably, at the end where there was just kind of this, I told him, like, you got to get a will, because if things happen, your stuff's your business and everything. So we got a will, and and I wasn't in it. And I was just like, I can tell you, for some reason that clicked in my head. And I was like, okay, if we're not married, that's cool. But we've been together for 16 years. You would think, and his family really didn't, they were all very well off. Nobody needed anything. I was like, it was just the principle of the matter. And that's when I turned inward and I'm like, Adriana, you got to work on yourself. This isn't about any of this. And that's when I started working on myself. And it took me about a year and everything changed. And I was able to disconnect from this relationship. And I'm like, this was my long lesson. And I cried over this and pulling teeth through these 17 years. So I will tell you, everything starts from the inside, and even diseases start from this lack of self-love, because we're pouring that energy outward and you're going to get depleted. So hopefully we'll get some tips throughout this little session to get you to maybe make little shifts so you can start at least sparking in your brain to say, maybe I need to take care of myself before I start looking for somebody else or something else. Or am I filling my internal voids with cars and buying all these things and food and whatever else? Gosh, we fill ourselves with all sorts of stuff. So, yeah.
And we have Jake. We have a couple people saying good morning.
Hi, Jake.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was just grabbing a picture of for a second. But we have Mary Lee just tuning in saying blessings.
Hi, Mary.
Jake saying, "What's up? I love you guys." Or "What's up, guys? Love you guys." And you're right on, Dr. K. We got our resident comedian Mark tuning in, saying good morning. We got Doug tuning in. We got other people tuning in that aren't talking, which is fine. But since Jake commented, what I wanted to make everybody aware of is if you go back on the Emergence of Being channel and just type in the word relationships to search on the channel, you're going to see this come up. And you see that we're live now. But we had a 4-part series, 3 of which had Jake on them, where we were talking about relationships. So that was more focused on the actual relationship part, where we're going to be focusing more on the self part today. But if you want a little bit more on the relationships, you have 4 other live streams that we've done, all centered around that. What I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. We have to have Jake back on, right? But there's 2 ways that creation works, and one is if you're creating from the space of duality, and one of the rules, like law of attraction, if you're creating from duality, in order to have the context of the experience, the opposite shows up first. So if you haven't done your inner work and you're creating from ego, I just want the perfect relationship, Mr. or Mrs. Wrong will show up first, because that's how duality works. You put out, and the opposite is somewhere in your perceived reality. If you've done your inner work, and from the soul place, it's like I'm putting out the vibe to attract my person, then that's manifesting from one-ality, and that's where like attracts like, because the greater truths appear in opposition to each other. Opposites attract as duality, like attracts like as one-ality. So the importance of refining yourself and doing your inner work and loving yourself is also that when you're putting out the vibe to draw Mr. or Mrs. Right to you, that they show up and you don't get the opposite of what you're looking to create. So it's a little tricky, but that's one of the ways that it works.
Yep. Clean up yourself first. And I will tell you this as a testimony too, because when I started doing that, and I did all sorts of things. I did different meditations. I saw different mediums. I read a lot of stuff. I sought a lot of different modalities, and I really started to clean up the internal stuff. When I did that, and I did a lot of auric clearings, clearing out all that energy of why I needed somebody else to love me, when I did that, then I started to, how should I put this? I started to create in my mind who I wanted to attract. And it was not long before I attracted somebody really nice. And it's been somebody that, just like loves me for who I am. And that's really cool, And so it's so possible. But I have friends that still looking for somebody else and have not cleaned up the internal stuff. You got to clean up the internal energy. And that's, Hank and I work on that with you guys. It's like pulling up those things of why you are in need of cars, people, food, jobs, whatever it is in your life. Let's find the root, as we call it, I call it the root, the wound, the original source of why that's happening for you. And let's clean that up so that you create the space for what you want.
Yeah, and with just talking about vocabulary, Dr. K uses the word root. I use the word original wound from shamanism and beta healing. It's the core belief. You're looking for what was the original thing that put you in a place of perceiving reality through a filter or a lens based on a judgment or a conclusion. It's like getting to that original thing that tainted everything else, that allowed all this other stuff to show up in your life. And Dr. K has great processes for like the Prometheus process. I have my processes, but that's what you're looking for, is where is the original thing that skewed and change my trajectory. So instead of going on point to where my true target is, something happened. And now since I'm seeing the world skewed, I'm off on a trajectory and you're kind of drifting until you can get back to center. And so however you want to do it, that's the important thing, to start really looking at oneself to find that core, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and it's usually something that starts in childhood, or takes something on from your parents, or something your parents told you, or something you didn't get. That's usually where these things start. I know where mine started, or it could be something karmic too, from a past thing. And I think Hank's going to be really great to take care of that. I work on this level and cleaning up that energy that's congested. And then Hank goes into the ethers and pulls more stuff out, so because we are souls, we're not just one dimensional, like this is it and we're gone. There's many layers to us. So it's really, this is the key. Start allowing yourself to be the authentic you. A lot of people are even scared to be, so this is a tip, start allowing yourself to be who you are. Because inside, a lot of times, like, I wish I could just wear sweatpants every day and I didn't have to put on this makeup. Deep down inside, we often want to do certain things and we don't, because, well, what are they going to think about me at work? Well, or you're in a relationship or in a marriage or in a family where you are expected to look, act a certain way, yet you want to act a different way. It's time to start allowing bits of that to come through, because inside it's like, I just want to be me and I just want to go ride bikes, but I'm not allowed because that women don't do that. Now is the time to really start being that authentic you and letting bits of that come out. And that can be a little scary, because it's like, well, what are people going to think? And it's that point A to point B. And I don't know if you can speak on that, Hank. How do people get from point A? Like, inside you want to be, I don't know, you want to be a drag queen. I don't know. I'm just going to laugh at it. But you're so scared to get there, because what's going to happen when you walk through that door?
The question is, when was the first time you were made wrong for being you? When were you being authentic as a child? Like, children are bouncing around all over the place and parents get embarrassed at the supermarket and they say, oh, don't do that. What are the people going to think? And we start imprinting children at a very young age to even care what other people think. And so it's going back to those places and realizing, you know what, you were just in a pure state of being. And, don't let a parent's embarrassment being imprinted on you to now start making you choose not to be you. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up with what you're saying, which is kind of poofing now, come back, stop. I hate when that happens, but it's kind of funny when that happens. Maybe it's because your cat wants to be honored. We had a Facebook user hearing your cat in the background and going, Puma. So we'll honor the cat. It's our podcast mascot, Dr. K's cat. What is your cat's name, incidentally?
Well, we call him Mr. Bratsky because he's a little bit of a brat, but Tommy is his original name.
Okay, well that's good. So she has cats, I have skulls, and we have all of our little mascots. What was the thing that? Oh, it was moving out of the space of feeling that you can't do something because you can't do something, because it's like kind of the victim energy. And I look to shift this in my kids all the time. You tell them to clean their room. Oh, do I have to? I'm like, no, you get to. You get to choose to do it, because there's nothing I can really do to force them to do anything. It's all choice. But when we say, I can't do this because of this, and we're putting the power outside of ourselves, you become a victim. But if you say, well, do you really have to pay your mortgage? No, you don't. You choose to, because you don't want the bank to take your house. But you have other options. And just to recognize that you always have choice, and that you don't have to do the thing they call conform to society and all that. Like, my friend Brian is a great example of that. He's like, I'm not going to do the work thing. I'm not going to do this thing. I'm going to go to Mexico, and then I'm going to spend a year in Australia. Then I'm going to spend a year in Hawaii. And he's like living this amazing nomadic life. But if he followed the traditional about who you should be in the world, he would have done the thing they call get a job. And he would have done the thing they call get married and settle down and all this, because that's what a normal person does. Nobody's normal. Yeah. We all have these amazing, authentic voices in this world, and we just need to get over people giving value to other people's judgments about who we are. And that's the big thing.
I think tip number 2 then, Hank, would be take some time and look at what it is that you really want to do in life. How do you want to be? If you had your choice to just, nobody's judging you, no, the world doesn't exist, you just get to be whatever, whoever, have whatever kind of job, what would you like to be like, do? What do you think your gift is? What do you think you really are good at? Take some time and write that down. Write that down, and let's start getting you to that space. Because if everybody here, we are taught to be in a box. School teaches us to be in a box.
Yeah.
Our parents teach us to be in a box. Society teaches us to be in a box. There's so many layers that before you know, we've got about 1,000,000 boxes, and our true authentic voice doesn't come out. And we don't get to be what our soul wants to expand to be. Because we all have a gift. Every single person is good at something. Even if it's just like, hey, you're good at mowing the lawn. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Everybody's good at something, big or small. So find that, write it down, and let's start expanding on that and getting you to that space. Even if you start doing that part-time or a little bit, you will start feeling so much more fulfilled inside, and your life will start changing. I think that's tip number 2.
And on my website, which I just did a soft launch of, so it's just myname.com, I have this video on the very first page of it, but I did a whole thing, taking the leap, soaring on your gifts. And I devote the whole video really talking about that. Like what would it take to really step into you being willing to be you and transforming your hucha, which is heaviness, the things that are the wounds that hold us down, into fuel to raise your balloon higher. Because I after I made the graphic, I realized it's not like a glider at all. It's more like a hot air balloon. And it's not a glider. Because think about all the celebrities who soared on their gifts and crashed and burned in drugs and alcohol. Why? Because they didn't do their inner work. So it's way more like a hot air balloon. You have your lift, you get rid of your shadow. Well, not get rid of, you transform your shadow. So you get more lift more quickly, and then you can soar on all your gifts. But it's not necessarily as traumatic as jumping out of an airplane like I put up on the on the thing. But to Dr. K's point, notice that she started with, who do you choose to be? And we ask kids all the time, we focus them on, what do you want to do when you grow up? Or we say, what do you want to be when you grow up? But we're saying, what do you want to do when you grow up? And the answer should be anything I choose. Who do you want to be while doing that is the question. And I choose to be happy, joyous, free, fun, all that kind of stuff. Because beingness precedes doing this. And that's when, as we get rid of and start to shift all the shadow and this hucha and this original wounds or roots and all that, we really are able to soar or reach entirely new heights, because we don't have those tethers holding us down to the duality. And then we can really be in the world, but not of the world. Let's see. I'm just looking at the comments we got. Mark, I'm seeing that this is a real comment. Like, Mark, I never sure. I'm like, is this a joke that he's like throwing in, or is like a real comment? Because he is our resident comedian. He's like, we steal our own true identities because we feel inadequate. Stop comparing yourself to others. That is a huge thing. Comparing yourself to others, we get lost in that because, oh, Sally Sue did this and she's so much better. But what things have you accomplished? Yesterday, I had, I don't know if you caught the stream or not, Dr. K, but Joy was on and she was talking about how making a miracle book.
I caught part of it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So just like, creating your badass moment list. So when you don't feel you can do something, you can, you create this miracle list where you look at the places in your life where these magical moments happen, you list them all out. And then when you feel that things aren't coming or things can't happen, you look at that list where there's like these just lists of things that it couldn't be you doing it. The universe like facilitated something in your life, and it helps to build your belief that things will happen because you can look at your past evidence, and then you can start to step into your future possibilities because of that. Let's see. Then we have Mary Lee saying, to find your gift, follow your joy. Mm-hmm. I would say be your joy, and then, well, I guess it could go either way. I like that. And then Mike was offering, you don't have to make a choice that is presented. Absolutely. We always have choice. But sometimes that's actually a parenting technique to trick kids into doing something. Instead of saying, do this, you say, would you like to do choice A or choice B? And really, they could choose a lot of other things than A or B. But the way it's presented to us, we feel that those are the only choices that we have. So where could you create a new possibility? We already put that one up. But be present for the choice. That is huge. Because if we just choose out of reaction, are you really choosing, or are you reacting through life? And then the fake Andrew says, so tough to identify what I'm good at through all the self-criticism. Definitely a work in progress. And it's progress, not perfection. You continue to be present and start choosing, and don't judge yourself if you don't get it right, because
Mm-hmm.
how often do we get things right? And is there even a right? It just is, right? We just start to label it. And then we get further in the trap when we start to judge ourselves for doing something wrong. So anyway,
Yeah, put the
thank you for all the comments,
criticism
guys.
to the side and ask yourself what you love doing. Just start there. What do you really enjoy? Like what lights you up? There's usually something. There's usually something, could be really, really small, but look at that. And I think tip number 3 would be change the self-talk, because we often joke around and like, I'm such a dumbass. You know that yeah, it's funny, and I think that there's a fine line with that, to view yourself lightly. But when you start to put yourself down and but add a laughter to it, it still has a detrimental effect. So don't talk poorly about others. Don't talk poorly about yourself. Change the self talk. Yeah.
Yep. There's a question in Access that we used to get out of that space is, what's right about this I'm not getting? And when you're judging yourself and you say that, you might find a nugget of awareness there that changes everything after that. So absolutely. And Ernie says, love yourself first, then be kind. You must. Well, you don't have to do anything. But I highly encourage everybody and invite everybody to go on the path of self-love,
To
because
make a different choice.
it's a lot more fun than hating yourself. I'll just, make that leap of perception there.
I think that's a strong point, though, too, Hank. There's a lot of people that hate themselves a lot. I've seen a lot of that. That's got to stop, because
Yep.
there's goodness inside you, and who taught you to hate yourself? So again,
Yep.
look at where that originated. That's where you have to work. That's where you have to spend the time and work. And it can be some work. There's many times I had to write paragraphs about my parents and why they taught me the things that they did and what that caused. And ultimately, it's up to you to undo that karma, because you don't want to stay in a space where you're blaming your parents and then you're not. It's your responsibility now to work on that. You can't walk around your whole life going, well, I am the way I am because my mom, beat me up, or my mom told me I was ugly, so I'm just going to be ugly. That's not. It's your responsibility to know better now. You can untrain yourself to feel better and to work on those roots and clean those up, because that's what we do. Because karmically something happened. I don't know who's here that really believes in past lives or not, but there's something in your past that wound needed to be cleared up, and that's a karmic thing.
Yep.
So
Well, and when it comes to past lives, what I invite everybody to be aware of is everything happens all at once in the ever present moment of now. And sometimes we just need to receive what needs healing through the filter of a past life. But then always ask, if something comes up from a past life, then the question is, where is that playing out in this reality?
mm-hmm.
And who says what came first, this life or that? It's just like, what tool are you going to use to become aware of that wound that needs healing? Whether it's being able to identify it in this lifetime or a past lifetime or a future lifetime, because, who says it's linear? Uh, but I want to give everybody this. I did a stream on this a while back, The Trap of Understanding. So you can check that out. But the reason I bring this up is when we're talking about where did you learn that from, oftentimes it's self-imposed, because the universe understands the energy. And if you say, I wish I could understand why my parents hit me, beat me, did this to me, all this stuff, guess what might happen? The universe gives you a set of circumstances that parallels theirs, and all of a sudden you find yourself making the same choices, doing the same abuses to other people, until you go, oh my gosh, that's not me. And then you have to start unwinding it again. So a lot of these things, it can be something taught from parents, but it can also be our own declaration unconsciously to the universe to have an understanding of someone else, instead of saying, what energy could I be in creationship to that, to have a different possibility? And that's the energy of change and breaking the old cycles and getting out of the trap of understanding.
Yeah, there's just so much to this. The other thing I would say is to learn to be alone. Spend some time in being okay with being alone, because a lot of people can't, or have a difficult time spending time in silence. They have a difficult time being alone. They always need to be in a relationship. Start learning to be okay being alone. And once you start to love yourself more, you'll find that this comes easier. It's like It's hard to explain. You just kind of, it's like I'm good with or without. You could take it or leave it. And when you can get to that point, then everything starts to shift. And take, treat yourself. So that's like number 3. Number 4, treat yourself to things. You're important too. A lot of what I see is, well, I have to help my mother-in-law and I got to take care of the kids and I didn't have time for this, but I bought my kids this and I bought well, what about you and your needs and your health needs and everything, the love you need? Maybe you need a massage. Maybe you've been so tense, but yet you're taking care of everybody else. When you do that, you are pouring out a lot of your own energy. And when you get depleted, your body energetically starts to manifest physically, and you start to get so depleted that your physical body starts to suffer. I've seen that happen too. Like, people that are taking care of the mother-in-law and that's all they do. And then rheumatoid arthritis starts showing up in their own system. They start getting massive back pain. Well, you're giving your energy, but you're not receiving. It's a dual flow. To give, well, you give and you have to be allowing yourself to receive too. If you're like, no, I don't need your help. I'm good. I got this. I don't, somebody offers you money. No, I don't, I'll work for free. You have to allow yourself to receive. The universe is constantly giving you, but if you do this, then it's like, take your breath in. You got to take a breath out, because otherwise your cup will get full or you're not allowing the good things to come in.
And receiving could be a whole separate live stream in and of itself, because our inability to receive it plays out in so many different ways. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because we could
That's a
really
parking
just
lot item.
that's a parking lot item, like the ability to receive. But the more relevant point to this conversation is to be in the flow of the energy and to be the hollow bone and letting the energy move through you. Because in the case of being a caregiver, you're taking on that person's energy sometimes and holding it and being able to let that go the other way too. Like not being the parking lot for the energies, whether it's someone else's or your own. You always want to have that flow and not getting gummed up with other people's muck and stuff like that. Fun stuff.
Self-care. Yeah.
Self-care.
Taking care of yourself in all ways.
Yeah. And self first is not selfish, folks.
Yes,
That's
yes.
a huge thing. To be self first, it's like the airplane analogy. Put your mask on before you help someone else. But the other thing is just to create an awareness around it. There is a difference between self first and self care versus self soothing. And self soothing is when we do a behavior that is destructive because it medicates a shadow that we don't want to look at. So I do want to be clear, like, don't mistake and say like, well, they said be self first, so I'm going to go and comfort eat or drink alcohol or things like that. There is a distinction, and one is a healthy thing and one is not necessarily healthy. So food for thought on that. Let's see. It looks like Mike gave me a complete sentence so I can put it up. We call him Magic Mike for a reason. He says, always ask truth. What is right about this I'm not getting? It will bring you to the present. Then as you breathe, ask truth. What else is possible? We are why we are their we are why we are their choices. I lost the last part, Mike, but the rest was really good. Truth, what's right about this I'm not getting, is just taking you out of, it's kind of like balancing. If you're in judgment about it being wrong, if you say what's right about this I'm not getting, it's kind of like balancing the scale, so it brings you to center and you can see the other side of that equation. And what else is possible is just a command to the universe saying, let's have a different possibility here. And he also says, and the universe has a knack for putting you where you are needed. It does have a knack for doing that. It's amazing how that works.
And spend some time for yourself. That's another thing that I see people go, and they never find time for themselves, and they never take a vacation, and then they go on override, and then before you know it, you get sick. And you know what? There's a forced vacation. Don't take a forced vacation.
Yeah. And and our body, like we abuse our bodies so much. And isn't it interesting that some people, like, they're working, like they can't get sick. They're putting out there, I can't get sick, I got to work. And then the second they go on vacation, what happens? They get sick. It's like the body finally says, oh, finally I can start getting through some of the stuff that I have been able to do because we've been commanding our body. We got to keep going. We got to push through. And that's happened a lot of times from my awareness. People say, oh, I just got sick. I'm finally on vacation and I got sick. Not to everyone, but I believe that that's one of the reasons, is that we're not being self-caring and taking care of the body. And then when we do have downtime, it's the body's chance to kind of reboot and take care of itself.
That's what I see a lot of too. It's like, no, 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 I'm going to keep pushing. I hurt my. Your body will give you these little things of it needing self care and it needing your attention and your love. You'll start to get little pains and you'll push through, and then you'll hurt yourself more, and then you'll push through. And then I often tell people, I'm like, when are you going to stop before the body really knocks you down and you're going to be forced to take time? Time that you have a choice. Are you going to take the time and enjoy it, or are you going to take the time and be in the hospital? Which would you like? You can choose either one, and it's not until that happens that I should have. Yeah, well, you know.
That happened to Ryan. Has a really profound story that he was working at like a shipping, like they manufactured motorcycle parts, I believe, and he was like the shipping clerk, and they had all kinds of chemicals in the manufacturing side, and they didn't have good ventilation, and he would keep getting sick, and he kept thinking, I need to do something else. He was getting signs from his body, and then one day he basically had like a respiratory issue that they had to get him to a hospital, and he asked his guides, what's up? And they said, well, inspiration didn't work, so we thought respiration might do the trick. So like we get all these signs and nudges from the universe, like, hey, maybe you should look at this, just invitations to choose something different. And our ego says, well, we don't want to do that, we don't know what's going to happen, let's choose this where we know it's safe and we survived it. And then we end up choosing the same thing again, but those nudges get stronger and stronger and stronger until it's like the universe chooses for you. But really, that's our subconscious demand to the universe. So this isn't what I'd like to do, universe. I'd like to do something different. And the universe gives you all these things that you could be following the energy to choose something different. And we don't follow it. So eventually the universe lines up a layoff or a pandemic. The collective consciousness of humanity saying, we choose something different. We want something more into life. And so we have a shutdown where you can only sit me, myself, and my soul and wake up. But that's like the unconscious creation. No matter where COVID came from, like from an animal to human or from a laboratory, whatever the case is, it's the subconscious declaration to the universe of demanding change in the world that these things show up in our reality, no matter how it comes to be. Actualization is that it shows up. We actualize change. How it shows up is more the trail of how it happened, the storyline.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I just got a download from that. I'm like, I just heard, do you know how many people probably say on a daily basis, I wish I just had a day to myself. I wish I just had a day to myself. I can guarantee across the universe how many people have said that. That thought's going up there. Well, you got a couple weeks to yourself.
Jake is offering, this wisdom is profound and a great reminder at this time in our society, remembering to listen and act when oneself acts for love or asks for love. And action is a key thing. Notice that we're not saying reaction. Reaction is something the ego does. Like things show up and you're just reacting through life and not being present. But when you are fully present, you're choosing action. You're responding to the things around you. And that is where the real magic happens. Good morning, Anne-Marie. She's just joining the party. Glad you could make it.
Yeah, choice is a big one here. You do have the choice to take care of yourself. You do have the choice to take the day off. You choose differently.
Mm-hmm. Choose differently and you have a different results. What's the fake definition of, I always hear like Albert Einstein's misquoted for this, and I don't know where it came from. It's actually something I heard in the program of AA, and I never heard it attributed to Albert Einstein until I quoted it. Not quoting Albert, but that it never was said or whatever. But the definition of insanity is choosing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
It's
not the textbook definition of insanity, but it is how the universe works. If you keep choosing the same thing, you get the same result. If you start choosing something different, you get a different result. So what can you choose to create a difference and a new possibility in your life? So also a good thing to not get caught up with who said what. What's the gold? What's the nugget of wisdom that it could have for you if you're willing to receive it? But anyway, Mike is saying the future never looks the way you thought. You are not alone. Yeah. Because if you can create without having expectation, it doesn't matter what the future looks like because you're willing to receive it however it shows up. And in that space, anything is possible. But if you condition the universe, this is the only future that I want to create for myself, that you kind of handcuff the universe that it can only show up one way. And then sometimes we get so sick of it not showing up that we finally demand, universe, I'll take it any way it will come. And then the magic starts to happen.
Just give me something. Give me a bone.
Like you just took the handcuffs off the universe and it's like, yes, now I can do it for you. Boom, here's a new possibility. Because we got out of our own way of having to receive it only in one certain way. So if you can take nothing else away from today, take that away. Don't get caught up in how the universe delivers. The only two things that I suggestions I give the universe would be one, this is what I'm choosing or better. That's a little tool from Joy from yesterday. And then my other one is it is oh it just went out. Poof. I should have gone with my thing first instead of Joy's thing. Oh, where did it go? This or better. Oh, anyway, I'll think about it sometime.
It's always,
Oh,
yeah, this
this.
or better.
Oh, with total ease. That's the other thing.
Yep.
You say to the universe, what energy could I be to create X, Y, and Z in my life with total ease? Because I kind of think of the universe as like the genie that just grants wishes, right? And if you just put it out to the universe a certain way, what if like it's like the genie with people asking for 1 million gold coins or whatever, and it appears above their head and crushes them, right? So if you say with ease, it gently sprinkles around you. You know, like you can put little suggestions like that, but to not have the context of how it shows up so much.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I always do. That's one thing my mentors taught me too. When I do affirmations that are, some of them are based off of Florence Scovel Shin's book, Infinite Spirit by Divine Right. Open the way for me to receive X, Y, Z or more or better with ease and grace.
Ooh, I love grace. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
So you're asking the universe to deliver, say you want $10,000 or more, because why put a cap on it, with ease and grace. So then you're saying, may it come easily and gracefully and not harm somebody else in the process.
Yeah, and also when it comes to money specifically, putting abundance, having a preference for some money in there, but not saying the only way you're willing to receive abundance is money, because there's a lot of different ways the universe can contribute to you that isn't monetary like that. But it also is wonderful or totally appropriate. You can say, I have a preference for this because, hey, I got this bill coming up, and that universe, what else is possible to take care of this bill? And if you say it like that, well, what if there was a mistake and that bill was wrong? Or there's different things that can actualize out of looking at things like that. Expect an unexpected miracle. I don't know about that one, Ernie. Expect an unexpected miracle. How about just be open to receive? I don't know. Expect an unexpected miracle. I have to sit with that if I like that or not.
There was a saying
Because
I had, and then
because
just went poof.
expectation is still an expectation. So you had a case of Poof the Magic Dragon happen to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I had a line, but it was one of those that like, it was, yeah, like that line that I was taught. And it's something like, unexpected miracles like come to, I forget how it goes. I have to find it.
You know, when you don't, well, they say it always shows up when you're not looking, right? Because what if when you're looking, you have an expectation of it showing up? So as soon as you stop looking, you've eliminated your expectation. And just my personal story, when I was in banking, I was waiting forever for the bank to close the site. I knew they would close the site, like as soon as it got bought by Bank of America, and I was waiting for years. And I'm like, oh, this is taking forever. And I wanted to move on and be doing something different. And as soon as I didn't care anymore about the site closing and I started doing actions to get out of there, regardless of whether the site closed or not, it happened like the next week. But it was me letting go of the expectation of it happening that allowed it to happen. So
Yeah.
where is expectation pushing things away from us when we're looking for it?
When you expect really hard and you squeeze, it's like, I really want this, really, really want this. It's like a sponge and you're squeezing the sponge. And when you squeeze, I almost feel it like in my Ajna chakra. It's almost like will that's going out. I manifest with will, and that's kind of not the best way to manifest. But I have noticed every time when I back off and it's like, okay, stop thinking about it, stop fixating on it, stop telling the universe you want it right now. Every time when you let go, it's like things just start to happen much quicker. So.
Well, and it's a decree in the Paco tradition that I practice. It's the power of Munai, which is in the heart space, and it's a combination of your will and love. And it's from there that you express to the universe what you're choosing to bring into your life. And we look at that like when setting intentions and things, it's kind of like a bow and arrow. It's not like you're going money, 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 right? It's like you say abundance universe, you let the arrow go. That's it. You just set the intention, you send it out. And then you have an awareness and you perceive what's going on. And then you might set another intention and you send it out. But it's not like where you are so focused on something that it becomes an expectation and then actually has the opposite of the intended effect and pushes it away.
Yeah, because like anything else, when you chase somebody, have you ever had that boyfriend or girlfriend that texted you, called you a zillion times a day? When are we getting together? And what do? You run. It's the same thing with the universe, if you're squeezing so hard and expecting it to give it to you right now, it doesn't always show up like that. It's when you stop squeezing the sponge and allow yourself to just receive it and know that it's out there and it's manifesting and let it come.
Yep. And I don't know why I do that. Okay. So there's a Lucian spirit that was just like chirping at me. For those of you who don't know, I'm a
Lucy?
medium, and I don't know. Maybe someone here has a Lucian spirit. I don't know, but I don't normally do mediumship on air or whatever. But this Lucy is like really harping on me to make a clarification that to set the intention and to let it go, it doesn't mean that you just ignore your efforts to bring that to you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's you do that, but then every day you say, well, what could I contribute to this creation? And you keep the course and you stay the course. It's not set it and forget it. We're not talking a crock pot here or a pressure cooker. It is you set the intention in the universe. You submitted the invoice to upstairs, to use Joy's analogy that she likes with the way that she works in manifestation. But then you start working towards it as well, and you keep your focus on what can I choose to create this in my life. But you're not looking at the outcome. You're looking at what could I be and do now in this moment to bring a step closer to actualizing that in my life. So thank you, Lucy, whoever you are. If any of you have a Lucian spirit, thank
We
you
forgot
for
to
bringing
state
her.
that. Yeah. That means you don't, it doesn't mean you stop taking action. It means you take the stringent energy off, like it's got to happen. Put the message out there, like I said, send the invoice out and continue to take the actions towards that step, whatever it is you want, the goal you want to get to. So it's not like you sit on your couch and you're just meditating and just thinking about it and, it'll show up. You still have to co-create with the universe and still take some actions towards that goal.
Yep. You have to take good, orderly direction, my acronym for God,
Yeah.
and co-create with the universe. I use the rowboat analogy. You got to row with the universe and you'll get there way faster, way faster. Let's see. I'm trying to read Mike's comment if it makes sense to me.
Maybe not a post. Oh, I don't see it.
I,
Let me see. Oh, okay. I
But
don't know.
if you can interpret the comment, we'll put it up. But Mike, I don't get it. I don't get it,
I don't
Mike.
think I get it either.
It's a Magic Mike moment. But and Magic Mike's great because he'll say something, and like a week from now, all of a sudden he says something else, and I'm like, oh, that other thing makes sense now. I get it. But he's like two places at once right now, and I don't get it, Mike. You gotta rephrase if I can put it up or whatnot. Oh, Paco and
Self-forgiveness
Pato was
too.
here.
What was
Yeah.
it?
Oh no, another Magic Mike comment that
Oh,
is only relevant to me, so I
yeah.
won't put it
Okay.
up. But I will think
Forgiveness of
about it, Mike.
self is another
Absolutely.
one
Oh, and
because
I have a whole thing on that I'll be rolling out soon, so that's gonna be fun. Forgiveness of self. Go on. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm just excited about the topic because I have a whole thing coming out around it.
that's cool. That's people need that. That's a tough thing. We beat ourselves up, and sometimes we do more damage to our inner child than our parents did, or just as much damage as our parents did. We keep that whatever going. It's like now you have taken on the energy of your parent, and whatever it is that your parent told you that you weren't, now you are taking that same hammer and doing it to yourself. And please stop that. Start forgiving yourself for the mistakes. If only I would have done that differently. It's gone. It's okay. You can create a new future. You can create a new choice. The past is gone. It's gone. Create something new.
Yeah. We have a tendency to judge past actions based on current data, and I invite everyone, give yourself a break at those times that you made those choices that you're now judging yourself for. You made 100% the correct choice in that moment that made sense to you. Otherwise, you would have chose something different. So you can rest 100% assured you did the best thing you could based on your point of view and filters at the moment. Would you do something differently today? Probably. But you can give yourself the benefit of the doubt and let go the judgment because you didn't know what you know now then. Right? So you can give yourself a break. And the course that I'm going to be releasing, it's called As I Forgive Me. It's going to be a free resource on my website, kind of like a guided self-help thing going through a process of inner work. I'm starting to film for it next week, and that's going to be coming out. And then a couple times a year, I'm going to do like a group version of it where people can join in a group and participate in it. But I'm going to get that out. That's an inspiration from like 8 years ago that finally is like has the energy behind it to create with it. So
That's awesome because that's something and I think when we talked about comparison will sabotage you like nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I mean, that will get you down that rabbit hole so fast. So don't compare yourself to other people. Other people have, we all have our uniqueness, and you're going to do well at what you are good at. And if Sarah over there does a better job, then you know what? Use the law of praise and increase, and good for her, because then good will come to you if you start doing that. But comparing yourself and then beating yourself up for not being good enough, or whatever you want, whatever terms you use there, is not going to help you. It's going to head you the other direction, where it's not where you really want to go.
Since you mentioned praise, I'll throw this up real quick. One of our friends from the Beyond TV boot camp that we took, she has this challenge right now. It's a free group you can join. Just you have to type it in like that with the periods, but you could type in Facebook, join the challenge. It's 11 days, and it stands for placing radical appreciation in someone else, and it's a whole amazing program to inspire you to really praise other people for the unique voice they are in the world and their impact to you to help them shift into a place of possibility. So throwing that out there for you too.
I saw that, and that's amazing. And miracles come from that. When you start thanking somebody for what something they did for you that was pretty amazing, it creates all kind of good in your life, because not only are you helping, you're helping the gratitude in your own heart. You are sending them praise. That's an energetic thing that's a law of increase. And when you help somebody feel increase, that's going to come back to you. It's like a boomerang. So it's a good thing.
Well, and if you think of it on an esoteric level, if source is all there is, and we are all source, by praising someone else, you are praising yourself. And if you can be in the space of oneness, so not only is it like the boomerang effect in the duality world, but there's like this oneality effect where it's like an instant thing if you're open to receiving it that way. And you see, Mark is I noticed he behaves himself now for the whole first half of the broadcast, first 75%. And then he's like, I'm going to start rolling in the little jokes. Don't forget, he's saying he regrets his Taco Bell breakfast, but I love their little hash brown things. So hey, I wouldn't fault you for that, Mark. They are delicious. Well, if you get it every day, then, maybe you could look to, if you choose, wish you had chosen differently, you can just choose it less often. So you can use that as an inspiration and catalyst for change going forward.
And here's a little extra. When you start trusting yourself and taking good care of yourself, you'll start looking younger. You'll start looking younger. That's just a hint.
Is there anything you can do to bring hair back?
I don't know.
No, I don't
about
think
that one.
so. It's all right. I'm kind of I joke about it sometimes because it's funny, but
I
I'm kind
just
of
don't
at
know
peace
a
with
ton
it.
about that.
No,
There is
I
pieces to it energetically. I just not really well versed in that.
I had a bald spot in ninth grade. That's how early I started losing my hair, which is crazy because my hair was also long enough you could braid. So imagine bald spot and braid. It was a very unique time in my
But you'd
life.
look so odd if you had
I
hair now.
know,
I couldn't picture you
I know.
otherwise.
And Ernie says, "We are all unique. Perfectly timed, Ernie. We are all unique, just like everyone else is." Laugh out loud. And Mary Lee was offering, compare yourself to where you were and how much you have
You've
grown.
grown. That's a yes. Please compare
Yep.
yourself to yourself. And where were you 4 years ago? And how much have you? I have to bring myself to that. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah.
And just to frame it, because some people might have had a decline, and there was somebody who shared, um, they shared this thing about when you have a down day, that you want to look at like a stock price, how you can see it going up over time, but it has these little dips. And so if you're in a place that you're currently in a dip, make sure you're looking at a long enough trajectory to see that you have been making progress, because it could slip the other way if you're depending on how big of a timeline you're looking at. And even if life has been kind of not as easy as you would like, also note that you 100% made it through every day that you've experienced. And now you can put all that behind you. Like, look at how bad of an ass you are that you were able to go through and get through all that. And now you can start choosing possibility. So everybody's past is different, and we weight the past differently. But no matter what your past is, through the right lenses, you can use your past to create possibility, whether it's comparing and seeing how much you've grown, or recognizing yourself like, man, I killed it. I made it through all that. I survived, and now I'm going to choose possibility. You can look at it either way. So I challenge everyone, no matter what your past is, it could be a fuel for possibility with that.
Absolutely. I've gone through that too. So everything can
Yep.
change. When you really, really start, it doesn't matter where you start. Find something, because one thing will resonate with one person and one thing will not resonate. I've gone to a lot of mentors, mediums, people that I got a little something out of all of them. And there comes a point in time where it's like, this person doesn't make sense to, or when you get drawn to something, that's how you'll know. But pick up something, maybe a book. Start somewhere on self-care. Maybe pick up some books on self-care. If you don't even know where to start, it's like, guys, I don't even know where do I begin to love myself? I'm having such a tough time. That's probably a good thing to address for anybody on here. It's like, this is all interesting information, but it feels way out here. I don't know how to get there.
Yep.
Where would one start? My thought is, to pick up a book, to go to a bookstore in self-care and just start reading a little bit. You're going to start getting pulls towards things like, this sounds really interesting. Start reading more. Hang out with us, because we always give great information. Even if it feels out there, we can bring it down to a lower level. If you need that, please comment and we can start lower. But start somewhere and you will get to that stage. You will. If you feel like everything's chaotic for you right now and you're like, I don't even know where to begin. Everything's like, my life feels like a mess. How do I start taking care of myself? I think that would be, how does one start? Where would one start?
Rolling back to my days in recovery when I was in rehab and completely lost and totally FUBAR'd, which is effed up beyond all recognition. It's a military acronym. In rehab, they said, just simply start choosing. Like when you wake up in the morning, have some orange juice. If you feel depressed, you start acting opposite. You start choosing and showing up instead of just sitting at home and being in the slump. You start showing up for your life and you simply start choosing. And to put a modern day concept, if you know where you're going, all you need to do is wanting that greater possibility or choosing that greater possibility more than you don't. 51% rule from our Beyond TV boot camp. Mm-hmm. That if you want it more than you don't, you use that as a compass, you will simply start choosing things that are going to lead to the next greater possibility. And it's that simple, whether it's a book, whether it's watching a movie, where it's going to our YouTube channel and binge watching all of our content. And do it, please. No, but but really, it comes down to simply choice. You all chose to show up today. And if you have somebody in your life that's in a really dark place, just inspiring them to just start choosing things that feel light to them, that one tool is going to put them on a trajectory of change and possibility. And you don't even have to bring up the end game that you want them to be an infinite being that can fully express their authentic voice in this world. No, just start choosing what's light. That's where it starts.
Or start working with somebody, get a mentor. If you're really lost, then we have connections. You can see one of us. We'll just start really basic and getting you there, because both of us started on basic stuff. Everybody starts somewhere. But if you're feeling really out of control and like, I just don't even know where to begin, reach out or get a book or make a choice. If we're too much, then get a book somewhere and just start listening to podcasts. I multiple things I can suggest to get you loving yourself a little bit more and treating yourself a little bit better. So start somewhere. There's always a place to start, and if you need more guidance, please let us know. The healing clinic's a great place.
That's where I was about to go. You beat me to the punch.
I read your mind.
Yeah, I'm like getting ready to click the graphic. One great place you could start is Dr. K and I on the first and third Monday of every month do this healing clinic, and when you go to sign up for it, there's an option for if you want an in-person session or a Zoom session. So it doesn't matter where you are. We turn on the camera. We pretend you're in the chair. I go through like a little ceremony where you do this process where you blow kind of like an aspect of yourself into the mesa, and it acts as a proxy for you. And then we do what we do. So that is a great thing. And that is, I forget how much it is, but it's really affordable. So there's no...
And it's private. You're not in a group of people. You're not laying on that bed. It's a beautiful photo, but you do get your own private room if you choose to come in person. If you choose to do it via Zoom and you're more comfortable, then you're in the comfort of your own home and you can tell us whatever you want to tell us. We have no judgments. We're just here to help you get out of that rut.
Yep. What energy, space, consciousness, and choice could your body, being and beyond, be to start choosing ease and possibility in your life with total ease? And everything that doesn't allow that, pot and pock. So, yeah. And Jennifer was saying, I love this. So important. You're finally catching a stream live, Jennifer. I'm so impressed. You must not be working today. I don't know. Or she's being naughty and watching from work. You go, girl. And Mark is just saying their energy clinics are the best. Well, I agree, Mark. Thank you so much for saying that.
We're still waiting for you to come
back. We're
back.
waiting for you, Mr. Mark. Mm-hmm. He was like one and done. He's like, I've had so much change. I'm good for a year. Mr. Mark, we're missing. You can come back anytime.
Mark is a really great comedian, and we are encouraging him to keep moving forward because he was doing TV stuff, and I hope you're still on that track.
Yeah.
More work to do. So, what are you guys going to do for yourself this weekend?
Yeah.
You
You
or a
guys all
friend
have home
too?
play.
Buy
No.
something for yourself. Do something.
Yeah.
Sign
Yeah.
up for the energy clinic. That's a gift to yourself.
Yeah. It could definitely be. And there's a couple, there's still spots left, though. I know that there's a few books. So if you are going to choose that, choose it. And if I always, oh, if you go to eob.center, that is our link to my one tree, and it has links to all the stuff that we're talking about. Or you can go to emergenceofbeing.com, and under experiences, there's the energy clinic. There's also other things there. Like we did a breathwork thing with Zane Kerfman a couple of weeks ago. His 6-week breath thing is coming up. And there's also, if you go to the page for that, there are 2 live streams, one with me and Dr. K, and one with him just offering like a 50-minute like talk and a deep dive into a breath exercise. So if you just want a tool, like breathing is an amazing thing. It's the one tool you have no matter where you go. You anchor one breathing tool, and you can use it in any part of your life to start to create change. So that can be a gift to yourself. So check out the clinic, check out the, it's called the 6-week breathing intensive. If you just click that, even if you're not going to sign up for it, the videos are there where you can watch the full walkthrough of a very potent breathing technique.
Yeah, I think that was
Oh,
a great gift for sure. Breathing, that's a basic place to start.
and somebody is listening from work. I won't put the comment up to not incriminate them because they said keep it on the down low, right? Oh no,
Okay.
she didn't say that, so I can't put it up. She says, "Hi, I am listening from work. Great show, love you guys." And Mark apparently is in prison again, but I don't believe you, Mark. I don't believe you because they I don't think you have a contraband phone. If you did have a contraband phone, you wouldn't be using it to listen to us. If you were in prison, maybe
You
you would.
are
I don't know.
selling yourself out there, Mark, because I don't think in prison they'd let you be on this stream.
Right?
Yeah.
No, but honestly, thank you so much for your contribution. You do add a little bit of a lightness and everything to it. We need to break it up a little bit because healing work is not supposed to be all that serious. It's really, you can look at it with the fun and play of a child. In fact, that's what we called in the Paco tradition. It's all kausai puklei, which means the game of life, and they really look at everything as play. It's sacred play. Wilka puklei. So.
Yeah.
All
Energy
good
is
stuff.
light, guys. It's not meant to be serious.
Cool. So, any last call for questions or anything? I have to wrap because I'm doing a Reiki attunement out at Unity Spiritual Center, so that's going to be fun. I don't think we can see the labyrinth, but I like people to walk the labyrinth and do the attunement in the middle. So we'll see how good we can walk it in the snow. I don't know. We'll find out. But I think that's it. Anything else, Dr. K?
Go do something nice for yourself this weekend, whatever it
Do
is.
something
Buy
nice.
yourself a little something, and I'm not saying eat poorly. Little treat, little something
You threw that
you
in just for
enjoy.
Mark, didn't you? No, I'm
No.
kidding. No.
He gets plenty of treats, I think. He
Yeah.
told us about his jelly beans.
Speaking of treats, yesterday I had a client who had been watching past episodes of Stir Crazy Shamans, and they saw the episode of me and Casey talking about our spirit guides and my marshmallows disappearing. And this lady booked an appointment, and when she came in for the appointment, she brought me 2 bags of vegan marshmallows. And I'm like, wow, that's so sweet of you, like literally and figuratively. That's so sweet of you. And that was like from something that we did in the summer. So it's really cool. There's a lot of content online. If you go to Emergence of Being under live stream, you can find all the live streams for everybody, including Dr. K, which now that she has access to the board, hopefully you can start streaming to your YouTube channel too, because I do have it embedded on the Emergence of
Oh,
Being
cool.
website.
Awesome.
So
Yay.
that would be really cool. But thank you guys so much. Don't forget, we have all these other episodes on relationships. So if you want to treat yourself, you can also go back and look through that little archive. It's not in a playlist. Just search for a relationship and you'll get all 4 parts come up for you. And with that, thank you so much for being here. Have fun this weekend. Treat yourself, like Dr. K said. And we will catch you next time.
Bye, guys.